Well, I think it's time for a new video. I think it's time I do something completely different. I've been wanting to try something different for quite a while. What's that? You guys can hear music in the background? Well, today, I present to you guys a new series that I like to call my gaming series. I'm going to be going over games that I have played over the course of my day, growing up as a kid to where I am today. So, we're going to begin this series talking about Dragon Ball Z games. And this right here is one of my favorite soundtracks from one of the Dragon Ball Z games. Let's talk about it. Hello everybody, and welcome to this brand new series I like to call My Gaming Years. So this is going to be a new series where I'm going to be talking about games that I have talked about, or not just talked about, hell, even played. There could be some games I have played before in the past, excuse me. I'm going to be doing a series where I'll be running down all the previous games that I have played in the past. You know, kind of like games that I kind of like. Like games that I've liked over the course of my days, or hell, it could just be a game I only played once. So, there's going to be no video game footage. Before you guys think I'm going to show you guys, video game footage of me either playing the game or clips of the game. Unfortunately, I don't have the powers to do that. I don't know how to do that, so don't get all upset at me if I don't show you guys legit game footage of me actually playing, because I don't have that kind of power. Like, I'm not that great of a YouTuber. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not that great of a YouTuber. I don't know how to do that kind of thing. So we're just going to be talking about Dragon Ball Z games. So yeah, so that's all we're going to be doing. We're just going to be talking about Dragon Ball Z games. We're going to be talking about all the games that I have played. So let's begin with the very first Dragon Ball Z game I ever played. The first Dragon Ball Z game I ever played was on the PlayStation 2. And that soundtrack you guys heard playing in the background, well, that was from one of them. That soundtrack you guys heard was from Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi. So, that was the first Dragon Ball Z game I ever played. Yeah, I'm just going to turn on my lights and just to make things easier. So, yeah. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi was the first game I ever played when it came to the Dragon Ball Z series. There are a couple of games I've played. Some of them I really enjoyed. Well, majority of them I really enjoyed. So, I'm going to be going over each game I've played. I might give you guys some details about the games, and if I tell you if they were great or not, would they be worth playing? Well, it'd be kind of hard for me to tell you if they are worth playing, depending on if you still have the console of the game when it came out. But because they don't sell anymore, it's kind of hard to. But as I said, I'm just going to be talking about the history of Dragon Ball Z games, the ones that I've played. So as I said, we're going to be talking about the first game I played, Budokai Tenkaichi. There were 3 games in this series. I did play all 3, but the third one I didn't own. I remember borrowing it. But we're going to start with the first one. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi was the first game I ever played in the Dragon Ball Z franchise. That's what got me into the Dragon Ball Z franchise. I did watch the show as a kid, but I didn't think there were any games of them. Well, I shouldn't be surprised. There should have been. There were, but at the time I didn't know. So, what was Budokai Tenkaichi like? Well, it had a story mode. There was a story mode called Z Battle Game, where you got to unlock stories from the series. The whole gist of Dragon Ball Z games is that you're just running through the main storylines of the actual series. that's kind of the that's kind of the big thing when it comes to Dragon Ball Z. Like, there's no Dragon Ball Z games other than, you know, 3 of them I own that have their own storyline and they do something completely different. All Dragon Ball Z games always followed the main story of the actual show. So in Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi, you began the story mode with the 4 main sagas: the Saiyan, the Frieza, the Android, and the Buu saga. Don't get me started on the Buu saga. But so we're going to be going over each individual one. The Saiyan saga is obviously, you know, the obvious one. But the game mechanics were actually pretty interesting. Because it was the first Dragon Ball Z game I ever owned, I didn't know how to play it. But here is the big problem that I had with the game. You know how when you open up a game and it has like an instruction manual in it? I don't think PS4 games have it, so I can't really use a PS4 game, for example. I know I've got a game somewhere. Alright, I'll use my Pokemon Pearl, for example. So, you know how in a video game, like, they give you, like, the instruction manual? Like, they tell you shit about the game? Well, here's the thing. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi did have that. It did have an instruction manual. And by the way, I'll be talking about Pokemon later on in this series. So it had an instruction manual. It told you the buttons and how everything works, right? It tells you all the buttons and how it works. But there's a big problem. The instruction manual never told you how to do other moves. It told you the basic moves. What button is dash? What button's the move? What button's the guard? What button is to punch and kick? What button, you know, performs Kai attacks, and what button helps you power up? Like that was the instruction manual. It basically told you the basics. Now, yes, when you open up the menu of the game, it gives you like practice, training modes. It gives you all that. But I went straight into the main story, which I regrettably should not have done. But I went straight into the main story, not knowing anything. But do you want to know how I found out how to do other moves? It's when you pause the game, it gives you like this battle list. It gives you this list of skills, and it says it said skill list. So I clicked that, and because my power key was at max, I could actually see everything. And then next thing, I see these buttons telling me how to do all these kinds of moves. So because I began with the Saiyan Saga, I was playing as Goku. So the instruction manual doesn't even tell you this. The instruction manual doesn't tell you how to do it. I just figured that out just by clicking the skill list. L2 and triangle does the Kamehameha. L2 up and triangle does the Kaioken. L2 down and triangle does the Spirit Bomb. No kidding. The instruction manual doesn't even tell you that. Like, the instruction manual is supposed to tell you how to play the game. And it didn't even tell you how to do your super attacks. Also, L2 and circle, pressing L2 and circle allows you to unlock the Kaioken so you can actually use the Kaioken attack. The basics in Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi is that you have to follow what the game tells you. There's been so many times I've accidentally done the wrong thing. In the Z Battle Gate mode, before you start the battle, the game tells you what you gotta do. So the main thing in this game, the main thing I hated about the game were the survival battles. And if you've played Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi, you would know what I'm talking about. It's like they give you this thing it's called survive until the time runs out. So you can't kill the enemy. You have to stay alive long enough until the time limit runs out. And that's a big, massive flaw. Now, yes, you got to do exactly what the game tells you. But if you don't do exactly what the game tells you, you will fail. Now, obviously, you can die and you will fail regardless. But the thing is, there was actually a time in a survival battle where you're supposed to survive until the time runs out There was actually a time I actually knocked the opponent's health down so much, I actually knocked him out, got a KO, and because you didn't do the objective, the game just says, no, you didn't clear the level, go back and do it again. So you got to do exactly what the game tells you, and if you don't, the game doesn't clear it for you. You got to do exactly what the game tells you. There are battles. I'm not going to go over all of them because this video will take this video is going to be long as it is. It's already going to be incredibly long, so I'm not going to go over everything in the games. The basics is that you got to do what the game tells you. Win a battle with a certain move, win a battle while surviving, use a certain move in the battle to win with. And that's another big massive problem. That was another big massive problem. Like, they tell you to use a specific move, but they don't tell you, oh yeah, you have to win with this move, by the way. Because I remember one time where, I think it was in the Namek Saga, or even, I think it was the Namek Saga, when they told me to use the Kaioken on Berta and Raccoon, because that's how he beats them in the show. He uses the Kaioken. So, it just says use the Kaioken. So I was like, okay, so I thought I'd just use the Kaioken. But no, I used the Kaioken, I won the battle, and it didn't even give me the victory. And want to know why I figured that out? It's because because the game basically tells you, oh, by the way, you have to use the Kaioken to win the match. Like, you have to, use the Kaioken as the final move that you use to win the battle to get the KO. Like the game wasn't specific. Like, it just wasn't being very specific with what you had to do. It just told you to do a certain thing, and you think, okay, so I can just do this move, and then I'll be done. But no, you have to win with the specific move it tells you. Like in this Android Saga, if you play as Vegeta against Android 19, tells you got to use the Big Bang attack to win the fight. So you got to use the Big Bang attack as the move that you use to win the battle with. You got to use the Final Flash in your battle with Perfect Cell to win the battle. You just got to use specific moves, and that kind of thing just it was easy to get used to when you knew that's what you had to do. But when you first play and you realize that's exactly what they're telling you to do, it's just like, wow, like, what if you don't hit it? Like what if you don't hit the move when it happens? Like, it was just really, really weird. But I got used to it and I was able to finish it. So, also, there are other Z Battle Gates. You get Z Battle Gates from movies. There are some movie matches you can unlock as well, like the one with Broly, the one with Cooler, the one with Janemba, the one with Bardock, and so many other movie ones. BoJack, I can't remember them all, but there were some in there, and there were even some from GT, like Baby Vegeta, Super Android 17. Those were in there. And because this came out way before Dragon Ball Super ever existed, there was obviously no Dragon Ball Super because this was on the PS2. And there were Pacific battles that you had, and there were other Pacific Z Battle Gates that let you play as the villains. Like, there was one where you play as Cell, Boo, Frieza, and you got to kill the Z Fighters. There's one where you play as the Saiyans and you get revenge on Frieza. Like I said, they even had the Bardock story in there as well. Like, so yeah, there were a lot of Z Battle Gates. And then some of the other Z Battle Gates you unlock are not even that long. It's just that the main saga ones, like the Saiyan, Frieza, Cell, and Boo, they were the longest ones in the story. So overall, the main problem I had with the game were the survive until the time runs out battles. Jesus Christ, the freaking AI it's just freaking relentless. It's like when you play the game, it's like you have a fair. It's fair. It's like when you first play, it's very fair. It's very fair. Like you choose your difficulty, and it's fair. It's super duper fair, depending on regardless what difficulty you pick. But when the survival till the time runs out matches happen, the AI is so damn relentless on you. Like, they just don't let up. Like, you just gotta keep blocking or or make sure you get yourself away, or even, you know, get a couple of combos in to just to back away. Like, the first one I remember having a difficult time with was the one where you play as Goku and you gotta survive until the time runs out against Great Ape Vegeta. But oh my god, oh my lord, the worst one of the survive until the time runs out battles were with Kid Buu. Oh man, they were just terrible. They were insultingly hard. And by the way, I want to give you guys a bit of a heads up. This game that I'm talking about, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi, I actually, before I no longer I don't have my PS2 anymore, I don't have the games anymore, but years ago, but years and years and years ago, I think it was 2017, I can't remember exactly what year I did it, but I remember years ago, I recorded myself playing this through this laptop. As you guys know, I use my laptop to use the camera app on my laptop. I legitimately recorded myself playing this as a Let's Play. I never posted it on my channel. I was thinking of posting it to my channel, but I thought, nah, no one's gonna watch it. And I did other games too. I did the original Crash Bandicoot, Crash Bandicoot 2, Crash Bandicoot 3. I did the original Spyro. I actually filmed myself playing different games back in 2017, and I never ever put them out on YouTube. I was planning on putting them out on YouTube, but I never did. So if you guys really want to see what Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi looks like, if you guys want me to, I will upload some of the videos. I will upload my playthrough of it. I'll actually upload it. If you really want to see the chaos of this game, I will definitely upload it to the channel. That's if you really want to see it that badly. So yeah, that's really, so the battles of Kid Buu, oh god, they were insultingly hard, man. It was just insane. And they're really hard. They're survive until the time runs out battles. Like I said, these are like the main battles I had a hard time with, because the AI just ups the difficulty on you. And you just gotta know when to block, when to dodge, and all this other stuff. It really puts you to the test. It really, really does. And in those survival battles, you play as Goku when he's Super Saiyan 3. You play as Vegeta. You even play as bloody Hercule, the worst character of the series. And you play as Majin Buu, the kid version. So those are the 4 times you have to fight Kid Buu in the survive until the time runs out kind of format. And Jesus Christ, they were just freaking nightmarish. Like being able to at least get through those games just made me happy. It just did. It just made me very, very happy. So at least I got that out of the way. So yeah, that's basically Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi in a nutshell, guys. Like, that's really all it is. I even unlocked all the characters in the game. There's other things like Ultimate Battle where you gotta fight yourself from rank 200 to all the way up to rank 100. There's tournaments, there's World Martial Arts tournaments that you can be in. But the main purpose of the game is just that you play the Z Battle mode. That's really all the game was there for. So yeah, those are my opinion. So there you go. I can't really call them my opinions on the game. That's just well, technically they are my opinions, but that was my experience with the game. Like I said, I have legitimate footage of me playing Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi all the way back from 2017. So if you really want to see how this game looks like and how difficult it is, if you really want me to put it up on the channel, I will. I will. So I'm just going to give you guys a heads up right now. So let's talk about some of the other Dragon Ball Z games I played. I played the sequel to Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi, Budokai Tenkaichi 2. Now, Budokai Tenkaichi 2, in my opinion, is the superior version to the first one. It was much better. I loved it. It was way better than the first one. I'm not saying I hated the first one. I loved the first one. I loved Budokai Tenkaichi because of just how insanely difficult it can be. But now I'm playing Budokai Tenkaichi 2. You know how I told you you know how I told you in the first game that I played, it had movies, the movie sagas and the GT sagas. Well, in Budokai Tenkaichi 2, they just upped the freaking ante. They put all the damn movies in. Tree of Might, well, not the world's strongest. They put in the Tree of Might. They put Cooler's Revenge, Metal Cooler, Janemba, and Broly's Second Coming, and like all of them. Like if you've played Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, you know which ones they put in, and they even put in all the GT ones, like Baby Vegeta, the Omega Shenron, and Super 17. So they just added more. They added more sagas. So the game was a lot longer to complete 100%. And they even added the Garlic Jr. saga. They even added that too. So, yeah, they added that to it as well. They didn't have Garlic Jr. in the first one. So they added more characters to the game for you to unlock. And they added 2 what-if kind of scenarios. Like, people who are familiar with, you know, like people on the Dragon Ball Z community that do what-if videos. There was like these 2 weird what-if side stories in Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2. There was 2 stories. There was one about Raditz and one about Zarbon. Zarbon, Frieza's henchman. The one about Raditz is that what would have happened if he turned good or something. Well, not really, he didn't turn good. It was more like I do remember these. It's that Raditz, like, it's just an alternate telling of what would happen if Raditz arrived. It was that Raditz arrived, he battled Piccolo, it didn't go well this time. His battle with Piccolo didn't go well this time. And he resorted to using a Cyberman, but the Cyberman attacked Raditz, and it blew him up, and Raditz lost his memory. Raditz lost his memory, he meets Goku and everybody else, and you know, he thinks he's a good guy because he lost his memory. And then when he gets his memory back, he becomes that evil Raditz again. But then by the end of it, he makes a decision. Does he choose to conquer the Earth, or does he choose to stay with Goku and friends? And at the end, he chooses to stay with Goku and friends. So that's really the gist of the Raditz one. The Zarbon one, I kind of don't remember, but I do remember bits and pieces of it. It's just that I don't know why they made a story based on Zarbon. Like, Zarbon isn't exactly everybody's favorite character, but they created a scenario, you know how he transforms into his ugly form. He hated it. He hated resorting to it. So they began it, so this angle was them on the Namek saga, and, you know, and Zarbon turns his back on Doria. He just completely, you know, gets rid of, he just completely gets rid of Dodoria. He has no more use for him. And Zarbon rebels against Frieza. Frieza brings in the Ginyu Force. Zarbon is pissed that Frieza's resorting to the Ginyu Force and not him. So, and like I said, he also hated his beast form. So he was going to use the Dragon Balls to become eternally beautiful. Like, he would never have to resort to that form. And of course, he ends up facing Frieza. And the end of the story isn't exactly a good ending for poor old Zarbon. Well, really shouldn't be, because he was selfish. But yeah, he basically stayed alive throughout the entire saga until Goku faced Frieza. But the big change was that I think Goku never got Super Saiyan, and when Namek was about to blow up, Gohan and friends wished Goku back to Earth, and when Zarbon was about to go into Goku's ship, Goku disappeared because Gohan and friends wished him to Earth, and because Namek was about to explode because Frieza and Cooler were facing each other instead of Goku, because Goku, you know, fought him once and that didn't turn out so good. So then Zarbon tries to make Goku's craft move, but unfortunately it doesn't go well for poor old Zarbon, and he ends up dying in the explosion of Planet Namek. Not exactly a happy ending for poor old Zarbon. I didn't even feel bad for him. Like, I knew it wasn't going to end well for him anyway. So, So yeah, that was kind of, there were two weird scenarios there that were pretty weird. But like I said, I'm not going to go into full depth of the game. Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 did change one thing though. When you start a saga, you have like an overworld map. You have like an overworld map and you can fly around the world map. Go to certain locations. I loved that change. I loved that change. It didn't make you just jump straight into the battle. Like you can go to you just got this overworld map and you can fly around. Kind of like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot in a way. Like you got an overworld map and you can go wherever you want before you get to your main objective. So kind of like Dragon Ball Z Kakarot in a way. So yeah, that was the thing. So overall, I enjoyed Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 a lot more than the first one. The third one, I did play the third one. I remember, do you guys remember the whole thing of when, you would go to your local library and you would find a game there, and, when you go to your local library, like, you can borrow something for a couple of weeks? Yeah, I remember seeing the game. I remember finding the game, like, in my local library, and I hired it for a couple of weeks, and I was able to beat the game. Like, it was exactly the same as Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, so it's not really a lot of big changes to it, just more characters. They just added more characters to it, and they added King Cold, Frieza's dad, and a couple of other things as well. So they did add a couple of new things, but it wasn't exactly, new. Like they were just adding, like at this point they were just adding more, sagas to the the story mode for people to play. So it really wasn't anything different there. So that wasn't really anything different. So now that I've done with the Budokai Tenkaichi games, now we're going to be moving on to the PlayStation 3, when I played Raging Blast 2, and even Ultimate Tenkaichi, and because I have them on the PS4, I even played the Xenoverse games. So we'll be getting to the Xenoverse games later because I got them on the PS4. So we'll get to these very, very shortly. So Raging Blast was an interesting game. Again, it was just the basic same thing. You play through the main story of the entire Dragon Ball Z series, yada yada yada. It's your typical same thing. But it wasn't really. It was a good game. But I'm not going to go into full details about Raging Blast. If you've played Raging Blast, you would know what it's like. But I'm going to talk about Raging Blast 2. Raging Blast 2 was the one I played the most, and I loved Raging Blast 2. Raging Blast 2 was my favorite. And Raging Blast 2, it didn't play through the main story. There was a different kind of... There was something different that they added to it this time. And the one thing they changed was that you play as all different characters and you do all sorts of battles. So instead of just playing the main story as you always do, you play as different characters to unlock new branching paths for the characters to do. And they also added a movie to the game. They added a movie to the game that you can just watch. It's in Japanese, which is a bit of a pain, but it was called Plan to Eradicate the Saiyans. Yeah, that's what the movie was called. So I'm not gonna go really talk about it. It's just you have to watch that movie to unlock a certain character. So you just had to watch that movie just to unlock a character for your Raging Blast 2 game. That's really all it was there for. Which the character's name is Hachiak. I'm not sure if anybody even knows who that is. But yeah. But yeah, Raging Blast 2 was fun. And because there was so many characters in that game, and because I had my brother-in-law with me at the time, because me and my brother-in-law were addicted to those games back in those days, me and him, we played for hours to 100% the entire game of Raging Blast 2. And that's exactly what we did. We 100%ed it. Just like I 100%ed Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi, and I 100%ed Budokai Tenkaichi 2. So I was able to fully 100% those games, and I 100%ed Raging Blast 2. Ultimate Tenkaichi though, like, this was probably my least favorite of the series, but I did enjoy it. Again, they go back to the whole traditional roots where you can play through the main story of Dragon Ball Z. But the one big change they made to the game was something I didn't like, is that it was button commands. So I've got my PS4 controller here for example. So I've got my PS4 controller here as a good example of helping you. So you just play the game normally like you always do, like you play the game normally. But then they give you but in order to keep doing your combos in Ultimate Tenkaichi, you gotta keep pressing square or triangle. You gotta keep pressing these two buttons in order to keep your combos going. So that was one of the big things I didn't like about the game, because I thought it was just that was just way too long, and it just made things tedious. And if you press a button, but the AI character presses a different button than you, then the AI character is gonna win. So yeah, it was a kind of a tedious game to work around and get used to, but I did beat that. But the one big change that they did add to Ultimate Tenkaichi was parallel adventure, where you could, for the first time ever in a Dragon Ball Z game, create your own character. This was the first game that allowed you to create your own character. So I enjoyed that a lot. So the parallel adventure is basically a world without Goku. Your main character, the character you create, is the main character of that parallel universe. And I liked it. It was definitely interesting, and it was really hard too. It actually gets harder as it goes on. So, like I said, with the way that you play Ultimate Tenkaichi, it was really, really difficult to play. So, that's really Ultimate Tenkaichi. So before we get on to the other games, I want to talk about one DS game. One DS game I remember playing of Dragon Ball Z. It was a card game called Dragon Ball Z Haru Kanaru Densetsu. I know, probably no one has ever heard of that. It's basically a card game. It's basically a board game mixed with cards, and yeah, it's kind of hard to explain. But again, you just play through the main story as you always do. But in this game, it stops up to the Cell Saga. It doesn't go to the Buu Saga, which is kind of weird if you think about it. And the basics of it, it's that you just gotta level up, get stronger, so you can complete other battles. And you only play as 4 characters in that game. You only play as Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, Vegeta. That's all you play as. And I'm not going to talk about this game for very long, because it's not exactly exciting. It wasn't my favorite game, but I did finish it, which is crazy enough. I was actually able to finish it. There were some soundtracks in that game I remember, but the big massive problem I had with this game is the amount of grinding you have to do, the tedious grinding you have to do. There's a boss level you have to do, and your character is always so underleveled, and you have to go back to previous levels to grind up. And because on my DS I had this little gaming chip that was able to download DS games onto a little gaming chip, and it had cheat codes in it. Yes, I'm not afraid to admit that I used cheat codes in this, because I wasn't going to, just spend hours and hours and hours of my day grinding. Because the big problem with that game is that if you go back to an old level, you have to play through it all. You have to play through all of that level again. You have to play through the whole thing again. And if you die at all, your level resets. That's the big major problem with this game. If you were to die at all, let's say you're level 30, let's say you were level 20, let's say you're level 28, heading into the level, and you leveled up twice in the level, but then you die, and you have to start over, it sends you back to the level you previously were. I didn't like that at all. I thought that was very annoying. So I had to use cheat codes. I had to use cheat codes to get to characters to level 99, just so that I can get through the whole game. So So there's like these alternate paths. Like, you know, Gohan's the one that defeats Cell, so he gets the true ending. But with Goku, Piccolo, and Vegeta, you get these alternate paths. You can get these alternate paths where you can actually win as those characters, and in their final chapters. Goku's final chapter is the Cell games match with Cell. He's level 40, but you know the part where where Cell tells Goku to eat a sensu bean. Well, before I used cheat codes, I'm gonna say this was before I used cheat codes, and this is when I realized I had to use cheat codes for this to be possible. So, if you choose to eat a sensu bean in that battle, Cell's level, this is just straight up insulting, and I was taken aback when this first happened. I didn't even know this was a thing, and when this first happened, I was left stunned, and I could not believe that the game actually did this to you. If you choose to eat a sensu bean in that chapter with Goku, Cell's level goes from level 40 to level 90. No kidding. And I was like, what? So basically, these alternate paths that you take, if you play through the game normally without cheat codes, these alternate paths that you can choose to take are basically impossible. They're basically the impossible level. Don't bother. Just choose the actual ending. So like I said, I use cheat codes to see what would happen. And if you use I use cheat codes to unlock everything, so I can get all the max powers and everything. So, if you're able to win these alternate paths, Cell dies. Cell actually dies in these alternate paths. If you actually beat the stage as Goku, killing Cell in that alternate path, Gohan never learns Super Saiyan 2, his Android 16 never dies, and that's pretty much it. Piccolo's final chapter was Cell in his first form, and like I said, before I use cheat codes and you choose the alternate path, Cell's level 76, but when I use cheat codes, I was able to beat him. Cell dies, and he never eats the androids. That's that one. And Vegeta's alternate path, before I use cheat codes, Cell's level 88, or level 80, and then when I use cheat codes to get to level 99 and max out everything, I was able to kill him, and then Vegeta becomes the hero. So, yeah, that's what the alternate timeline, the alternate endings do. So, that's the only thing in this game I can say I actually appreciated, the alternate endings. I can't say I liked Dragon Ball Z Haruka Densetsu very much. It was just so tedious, so grindy. It's definitely a game that not many people will remember. It wasn't everybody. It wasn't a game for everybody. That's for sure. It wasn't a game for everybody. And also there's these joke books. If you go around to every level and unlock joke books, you'll unlock voice clips from the actual show. Which, that was a nice collectible. I did that as well. So, at least I did as much as I can to 100% it. But, yeah, I can't say I really enjoyed it. So now we can talk about the next coming games. Now I can talk about these games. Xenoverse, Dragon Ball Z Fighters, and Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. So we can finally talk about these games now. So we can finally talk about these games that I have on my PS4. Xenoverse is a completely new game. Xenoverse are completely new games where you play as a time patroller. So you can create your own character and you are a time patroller. The basics of the Xenoverse games, I'll talk about them both here. The main gist of the Xenoverse games is that you play as a character that's a time patroller and you got to go back in time to change certain timelines. So we're basically Trunks. We're basically doing what Trunks does in the show. He goes to different timelines. But unlike Trunks, we actually fix it. We don't screw it up like he does. But these alternate timelines change, where there's these villains named Demon God Dimagra and Mia and Toa. They're messing with the timelines. They're changing things from happening. Like, they're changing scenarios where, like, Raditz kills Goku and Piccolo and like, they just change the timelines. If you've played the Xenoverse games, you know what I'm talking about. They just completely mess with the timelines. And it's up to you to fix the timelines and put them back to the way they were. And put them back the way they were. So that's basically your job in the Xenoverse games. The Xenoverse games are actually pretty hard and pretty challenging. I actually have died on them a couple of times. Not all Dragon Ball Z games are easy. They're not easy at all. They're all pretty tricky. So that's the gist of Xenoverse. You basically defeat Demon God Dimagra and send him back to hell. So that way and then everything is hunky dory. That was Xenoverse 1 I was talking about. But in Xenoverse 2, Mira and Toa are still the bad guys. Bardock's apparently now a part of it, part of the storyline now. It's like I said, it's basically the same thing. You're a time patroller fixing timelines. But in this time they added Dragon Ball Super to it. They added Dragon Ball Super to it with the Beerus Saga, the Golden Frieza Saga, the Universe 6 Saga, and it stops up to Goku Black. That's where it stops up to. So those are like the alternate timeline changes that you have there. So other than that, Xenoverse 2 are really fun games. And Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is basically still going strong to this day. There are still DLCs for this game. This game that is actually old now. This game that is incredibly old. That was released in 2017 or 2016. I can't remember when this game was released. But this game is incredibly old now. DLC for this game is still getting released. They are releasing Dragon Ball Super characters in this DLC. It is crazy to think that this game, as old as it is now, is still getting DLC. It's incredible. It's incredible. So those were the Xenoverse games. I liked them, to be fair. They were not my favorites, but I did like them. So now let's talk about Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Let's talk about Dragon Ball Fighters Z, I should say, because that's what the cover says. I never streamed this. If you guys really want me to stream this so you guys can see the gameplay, I will, if you want me to. But Dragon Ball Z Fighters, the gist of this is that you're a Soul Link. The main story of it is that you play as a Soul Link. And there's a completely new storyline where there's zombie versions of characters. Like there's a zombie Goku, a zombie Vegeta, zombie Piccolo, zombie Tien, zombie Frieza, zombie Cell, zombie Kid Buu. Like there's zombies now. It's like there's now like these zombified versions of the main characters. And the main characters kind of and you're like this soul. You're like this soul. And then you go into a person's body. And there's 3 stories. There's 3 different stories, and the gist of it is that you got to solve the problem. You got to solve the problem of why a character, why the character, who's behind the whole Soul Link issue, and all that stuff. So like I said, you play as a Soul Link that's in Goku, because there's 3 stories where you play as Goku, 1 story where you play as a villain, and another story where you play as an android. But there'll be a big plot twist at the end. Don't you worry about that. And the main villain of the game is a female named Android 21, where she has a huge obsession with eating people. Yep, she has a huge obsession with eating people for power. She's like Majin Buu. She's a lot like Majin Buu, but in android form. She wants to eat Goku, but it's your job. She wants to eat Goku and other people, so she goes around eating all the bad guys to kind of get powerful. And then it's up to you to stop her. So you have to kill her, and then you move on to the next Soul Link storyline, which is Frieza. You play as Frieza in this Soul Link story. And Frieza doesn't appreciate the Soul Link, which is you, inside his body, because he's evil. He doesn't like it. So there's a point in the story where Frieza's about to kill Goku, but your Soul Link prevents him from killing Goku, which I find pretty hilarious. And at the end of that, again, as I said, Android 21's the villain in that. Android 21 is the villain of the whole story. You kill her, the Soul Link leaves Frieza, and then Frieza can go on and do his own thing. And he also has like other villains with him. He has the Ginyu Force with him. He has Cell with him. So that's pretty cool as well. the final story of the um, Dragon Ball Z Fighters is an Android, where you now the Soul Link goes into Android 18. So that's a thing as well, and as I said, there's a big plot twist at the end. You know how I told you Android 21 has a huge obsession with eating people? Well, in the Android scenario, Android 21 wants to stop this habit. She wants to stop this habit of feasting on enemies, feasting on dead bodies. So she just has this mental breakdown where she wants to stop this from happening. And remember how Majin Buu had like a good form and an evil form? Well, that's what happens to Android 21 in this scenario. And I enjoyed this scenario more because it was actually more interesting. So now there's an evil Android 21 and there's a good Android 21. And at the end, in the final battle, Goku uses a spirit bomb, and the good Android 21 sacrifices herself to kill the evil Android 21, so then that way the world can live in peace. So, like I said, if you guys want me to show you gameplay of Dragon Ball Z Fighters, I gladly will. So yeah, that's basically that. And the thing that I did, and the one thing I found pretty good about Dragon Ball Z Fighters is that they added, Dragon Ball Super characters like Jiren, Goku Black. They even added Zamasu, which is a DLC character, Beerus. Like they added a couple of super characters, but you don't see these characters in the story mode. So I thought that was a bit of a letdown. Like you add so many good characters, but you don't even put them in the story mode. So that was Dragon Ball Z Fighters. I liked it. The game. That's all I really played it for. I played it for the story, and after that I kind of stopped. So, which leads us to the final game of this discussion, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. I am currently live streaming the entire game. I am currently live streaming this game. So if you guys want to you guys need to tune in to more live streams of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And since I've already played this game, I don't want to spoil anything. All I'll say is this is an incredible game. And if you've watched my live stream so far, you'd see how incredible this game has been so far. So without spoiling really anything about this game, because I'm currently live streaming it, because if I spoil it, then people won't watch my stream about it anymore. All I'll say about Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, it is a fantastic game and you need to play it. So there you go. I talked about all the Dragon Ball Z games I have ever played. Do I recommend all of them? To you? Yes. Maybe not the DS one though. Maybe not the DS one, Hadouken Densetsu, because you'll probably get bored of it. I recommend you playing all these Dragon Ball Z games. But obviously the PS4 ones are definitely more recommended than the PS3 versions, because obviously you can't get them anymore. Especially the PS2 ones, you obviously can't get them anymore. But I recommend playing majority of these. I recommend Dragon Ball Z Fighters. I even recommend the Xenoverse games. So I do recommend those, and I also recommend Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. If you do have a PlayStation 3, and if any of the Dragon Ball Z games from the PlayStation 3 are around, I recommend Raging Blast 2. That's really about it. That's really all I would recommend for the PS3. But other than that, I really enjoyed the Dragon Ball Z series. I'm glad I've gotten into the games. I'm glad I love the games. And so yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for you guys there. So if you guys enjoyed this long video, there's going to be more of these long kinds of videos coming in the near future. I'm going to be talking about other games I have enjoyed playing over my years. So if you guys did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. Comment your opinions down below on what's your favorite Dragon Ball Z game and your experience with other Dragon Ball Z games that I may have never played. And that's another big key thing I should have mentioned here. There is going to be some Dragon Ball Z games I never played. So if you guys have had a Dragon Ball Z game that I've never played and you want me to, and you recommend me to play, I'll give it a look. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and I'll see you all next time.